Hello, Powers Resource Center, clients, colleagues, and friends. I'm Tara Powers, CEO of Powers Resource Center. Today's Tara's Tips is focused on how to use a hybrid communication method matrix as you start heading back into the office. What we're finding is a lot of teams are going into this hybrid workplace, which presents its own set of challenges, no doubt. And one of the most mindful things that we can do to help our team stay connected, to keep trust intact, and to make sure that we are continuing to build great relationships is focusing on our communication and being thoughtful about the communication methods that we choose. So let me just talk a little bit about virtual and hybrid communication. When it is done effectively, it can influence, build trust, empower, and energize your team, no doubt. However, what a lot of teams do is they just start using different communication methods without a lot of thought. They do whatever's fastest. They do whatever gets them the information quickest. They don't really plan on what is the best method for this person or this situation, and they don't think about their relationship with this person and the chance of misunderstanding. And so, what I'm going to talk to you about today and introduce you to is my hybrid and virtual communication method matrix that I wrote about in Virtual Teams for Dummies by Wiley, and that was published right before the pandemic. Amazing timing on that book, but did not know that was going to happen for sure. But what I found was this is an area that the teams I was working with at the time really were struggling with, is choosing the right method of communication. So I built a matrix to help you with some questions. So let's go ahead and bring that up on the screen. And this is it. This is your hybrid and virtual team communication method matrix. And what you're going to see very simply, it's asking yourself two questions. And by asking yourself these two questions, you're engaging in much more mindful, thoughtful communication rather than what I like to call accidental communication that just happens on the fly. I don't really think about how it's going to be received. I don't really think about if my message is going to be misunderstood or if my intention is going to be misunderstood. And so that is why this creates a much more mindful approach to communication, which is an absolute requirement in a hybrid or virtual work environment. So here's the two questions. And you can see these on the matrix here. I encourage you to talk about this with your team as well. Number one, before you choose your method of communicating, when you're about to send that message, ask yourself, what is the chance of misunderstanding? So am I sending something that's highly technical? Am I sending something that could potentially be very confusing? Maybe it's a lot of information. Maybe I'm sending information to someone who I don't know very well. I don't know their level of skill. I don't know their level of understanding of the topic. And I just have no idea if this is going to land in a way that they understand. If your chance of misunderstanding is medium or high, you want to choose a method of communicating that allows you to provide more details. It's as simple as that. That could be a voice to voice call. That could be something we do over Zoom, but we don't necessarily have to put on our cameras, right? That could be actually picking up the good old telephone and having a phone call. That could be a conference call. I might even provide those type of details in an email. But I need to choose a method that allows me to explain myself clearly and check for understanding. And that can be verbal or in written form. Let's look at the second question you need to ask yourself. What is the risk to the relationship? So when I think about the message I'm about to send to an individual or a team, what is the risk to the relationship? And what I mean by that is, how good is the relationship? Is there trust there? Do I believe that the receiver of the message understands clearly my intention and that they're not going to make any assumptions about my message? So a good thing to think about is, have you had recent conflict with this person or persons that you're about to send this message to? Could they make some wrong assumptions about your intention? Could they read into your message in the wrong way? Could there be an emotional reaction to your message? If any of those things are true, if you don't know the person well and you feel like they might take your message the wrong way, then when that risk is high, the number one thing we have to do is make our communication as personal as possible. And that means we're meeting in person if possible, or absolutely turning on our cameras, doing a Zoom call, Skype call, MS Teams call, but we have our cameras on so that we can see each other, we can see facial expressions, we can address any emotional expression that we notice right in the moment. Because if they're assuming our message and intent in the wrong way, we can sense that, we can see it. So very, very important. So let's regroup and just re-summarize these two questions that you need to consider when choosing the right method of communication. Number one, what is the chance of misunderstanding? And number two, what is the risk to the relationship? If you and your team actually ask yourselves those questions regularly before you start chatting and before you start sending a text, and you actually pick the right method to match the situation or even the person, you are going to continue to keep people connected, build trust, and make people feel valued and heard in a hybrid work environment. I would love to hear how this conversation goes with your team. Certainly share this video with them and let us know what the results were. Even if it shifts your communication with each other just a little bit, that can make a world of difference in a hybrid workplace. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. Please check out our other videos on YouTube, Powers Resource Center, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.